use the updated version of the free bead designer at paperbeadcrafts.com. And what you're going to do is you need to go to paperbeadcrafts.com first of all and look up here for the free bead designer. So go ahead and click on that. And these instructions are the same no matter which version of the bead designer you're going to be using on the website, whether you're a free visitor just using this site for the first time or you've been here several times, or if you're a paid member and you have access to the premium paper bead sheet designer, which has a lot more images. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're already set at the bead sheet designer index page, and you're going to choose a category that you want to go into. And let's see, I'm going to go with textures. That'll be the one that I'm going to be doing today. Okay, on this screen on the left side over here, you're going to see all of the different categories that are in the free bead designer. And these little numbers next to the names are how many images that you're going to get in that category. And over here you'll see all the different pictures. And if some of them look a little off, that's because I have set the resolution to a specific number. And so some of them are going to look a little bit off. That's just because of the way it renders on the screen. Also, if you look very closely, the reason why I put the gray backgrounds on these is so you can see which images have a little tiny white line. Those little tiny white lines are sort of like a cutting guide separator for that design. And some of them don't have that. So this way it gives you a better idea of which images are going to give you that white line. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pick an image. And I'm going to go with the looks like a leopard print, so we'll go with that one. And the first thing you're going to do next is check on your paper size. If you're in the UK or anywhere else in the world, it's going to be A4. If you're in the US, it's 8.5 by 11, so we're going to choose that one. And I'm going to print this one in portrait orientation. I actually get to choose which way I want it to print. And I've actually in advance decided what size bead I wanted to do. So I'm going to go choose my diameter, which is going to be 9 millimeters, and give or take. If you've made a sample bead and it doesn't fit into one of these sizes, either 5 millimeter through 25 millimeter, what you want to do is you want to go with the next bigger size. And so 9 millimeter works for this case. And the length of bead that I want is going to be 5/8 of an inch, or you can go choose millimeters also. Either one will work. And so I'm going to go with 5/8. And this time I'm going to choose the tube bead, which I'm just demonstrating what it will look like on the resulting page. So choose regular tube. And you can tile the images, which will basically give you 2 images that will wrap around your bead side by side. And if you choose cutting lines, you're going to get straight dashed cutting lines across the sheet separating each image. And I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that for you right now. Okay, so when you click on Make Sheet, what's going to happen is your sheet's going to open up in a new window or in a new tab, depending on your browser settings. And with mine, it opened up a new tab and went right to it. You may actually have to go up here and go to the tab that it opened up into. So on this page, what you have is you have your images down the left side, and you have your dotted line across the screen. And then you're going to have some basic information about what you just created. And then in order to be able to go ahead and print this and have the images down the left side of your sheet, you're going to go up to File. You're going to go down to Page Setup, and you're going to make sure that your orient is what you had chosen earlier, Portrait. That's why the text over here is a good idea, so it can remind you what you wanted to do in the first place. So go ahead and click on Portrait. You want to make sure that the scale is set at 100%. And do not click the Shrink to Fit the Page Width, because your images on your piece of paper won't be the size that you chose. They'll probably be a little bit smaller. And then you want to choose print background and colors and images no matter what you're doing in the Bead Sheet Designer, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. Okay, then you want to go over to your margins and header and footer. You want to make sure that all 4 of your margins are set to 0. And if your printer is capable of it, you're going to be printing in borderless. Don't know what printer you have, but I have an HP OfficeJet Pro 8600. So with mine, I'll show you what the dialog box looks like. You also want to make sure that these headers and footers are all set to blank, so you won't get anything on the top or the bottom. And click OK. And then when you want to go ahead and go print, you're going to go back to File, and you're going to go down to Print Preview. You always want to check before you print. So go ahead and click on Print Preview. The next page that comes up is what it will look like when it prints out. And it should be completely lined up on the left side here with no margin. And if you know your printer, and some browsers will add margins automatically for you, like Internet Explorer. With Firefox, I know that my printer, my 8600 OfficeJet HP printer, will actually print on the side of the edge of the paper, because I do print in borderless. But what you want to do is, before you print, you want to go up to the print dialog here. And with me, I have the HP OfficeJet Pro 8600. I'm going to click on Properties. And on this page, you don't really need to do anything. You just want to make sure it's set to portrait. You don't want to print on the both sides. You want to print pages per sheet, just 1. And then you're going to go click on Advanced. And you have a whole bunch of dialogue here. You want to look for borderless printing. And I don't know what it's like on yours, but with this one, I would go with print borderless. It will be different, probably depending on the printer that you have. And then click OK, and then click OK, and then you're ready to print. And mine will actually print out on the side. I'm not going to bother printing at this time. So once you're done printing, you can close this out, and you're going to go back up to your tabs and go. Your original program is still there, so just go ahead and click on that tab. And then if you want to do like an all-over sheet, you don't need to do the tile images or the cutting lines. It won't work on the all-over sheet. And I'm going to choose an all-over sheet because I want to show you what it looks like. Okay, so you click on Make Sheet. I'm going to use the same image. And this time, the page is going to be full. And it did actually go to a screen. But the reason why I stayed on the screen is because of the way my settings are set up. It didn't actually open up a new window. It just changed the existing tab that's up there. So I'm going to go up there and take a look at it. See, it completely filled my screen. And that's because this is a new browser. If you have any of the new browsers, this is what you're going to see. If you have an older browser, older computer, what you're going to see is you're going to see the left side of your screen here with this print on it, and then the rest of it's going to be completely white. If you scroll over here, you're going to see part of my screen moving. That's because I've designed this program to work on whatever browser you're working. And so you're still going to get a page full of print. But if you have an older browser, what you're going to, I'll show you in a minute what you're going to get. This is why you want to actually make sure you set your printer on print backgrounds, because of the fact that I made it part of the background. So I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to go to Page Setup, and let's see what happens when I uncheck Print Background and Colors. Okay, and my margins and headers and footers are all the same. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to go to File, Print Preview, and you're going to see something different. See this white over here? If you scroll down, you're going to see a margin on the bottom and a margin on the side. That's because I did not check Print Background Colors and Images. So I am going to close that out, and I'm going to go back to File, and I'm going to go to Page Setup again. This time I'm going to click on Print Backgrounds, Colors, and Images and click OK. Then I'm going to do my Print Preview again, and this time it completely covers my paper. And hopefully you have a new browser so you'll get this benefit. But you notice that you can barely even tell where that white margin would be over here. It blends right in with the print that I chose. If I chose a different print, it would look completely different, and I can show you an example of that. Let's go back to the textures. Let's go back to one that's actually going to do something for you. I'm going to go over to, let's go to dogs. Okay, I'm going to start all over. I'm going to go to paper size, 8.5 by 11, go with my portrait orientation, go with my 9 millimeters, go with my length, 5/8, and I'm going to go with the all over because I want to show you what this looks like. And I'm going to pick a beagle. He's cute. Okay, make sheet. So it opened up in a new tab. I need to go there. There it is. Now, again, here I scroll. You can see some of the puppies moving and some of them not. So I'm going to go over and show the page setup, get rid of the background, colors, and images, click OK, go up to File, Print Preview, and there you get the white border at the bottom and on the right side. Okay, so I'm going to close that out, go back up to File, Print Preview. Didn't want to do that. Hold on. Go back up to File, Page Setup. This time I'm going to print the background, colors, and images. Click OK. And do my Print Preview one more time. And see how I got part of the dog over here? And that's because I actually designed this program to print on the background if you have it. And you're going to get a partial dog. It's not going to be perfect across the screen, unless you fiddle with the settings and the sizes and all that stuff. So I'm going to go back to Paper Bead Crafts, and I'm going to choose a different layout just so you can see how they render differently. Like with the sideways tube, what you're going to get is the images across the top here. And again, if you go with the page setup, the background, colors, and images doesn't matter on this. It doesn't work the way the browsers are today. I can't do it that way with the background. It has to be on top, so that's what that is. And so I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to print my preview, and there it is across the top. Basically, the way you're going to do this is you're going to cut them. If I go back and fix this so that you actually see the cutting lines. Okay, there it is. You're going to see some cutting lines across the here. They don't go through this text. It's just the way I had to write the program. But you're going to see the dotted lines between the dogs, and you're going to see it down at the other end. I'm going to do Print Preview so you can actually see it. Okay, so here's your dotted lines across the top. And if you scroll down to the bottom, it doesn't go all the way down, but you can always, if you wanted to, use a ruler and finish transferring those lines to the bottom. Okay, so click Close on that. So I'm going to go back and show you a different layout. And this time I'm going to give you the variable taper. Basically what happens with this is you're going to get your images on both sides of the paper. No cutting lines and no tie. Well, cutting lines will probably work on this one. Let's take a look. Same dog, up to a different tube. Nope, no cutting lines on this one. But basically you're getting your images straight across. And the reason why there's no cutting lines is you're not cutting tube beads. You're going to do variable tapered beads. And you can choose how variable you want it. This is where you have the freedom to choose a 1-inch, 2-inch, a 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you the last type. We have 1/4 taper, 1/3 taper, 1/2 taper, 2/3 taper, and 3/4 taper. Basically what that means is the image, for example on the 1/4, the image itself will be 1/4 smaller than the whole width of the bead. So I'm going to go with 1/4 taper, I am going to go with a 1-inch bead just to give you an example. And so the 1/4 smaller, the actual image is going to end up being 3/4 of an inch. So let's go with the make sheet. It opened in a new tab, and there it is. And these are a little bit trickier to cut. Basically what you're going to do is, if you look here, you've got the dog in this upper right corner and nothing over here. Well, basically what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to draw your line starting at this edge. If you look really carefully, you can see a dashed line. That's the edges of your image. And you're going to go from there to the top corner or centered over here to make your other line. And then you're going to go from here all the way to the top edge of this over here. And then then you're going to cut from here all the way to include this dog. Okay, since it's 3/4, you're going to go from this dot to this dot. And then you're going to cut the next line from this dot to this dot. And you'll end up with a strip that's 1 inch at the blank end and 3/4 inch at the colored end. And let's do a print preview of that one. Okay, so everything's squeezed together, and it should be accurate when you go ahead and print that out. Okay, so basically that's it, the bead sheet designer in a nutshell. I hope you like this video, and I hope you like the bead sheet designer. And if you become a paid member, you'll have access to well over 1,000 images. And you'll end up with a username and password, and you'll have access to the premium bead sheet designer, and you'll also have access to your own personal private bead sheet designer where you can actually add your own images. Alright, so that's it for today. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and leave some comments, suggestions, questions in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, and have a great day.